At exactly 6:42 a.m., the ground beneath Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula ruptured violently. A powerful undersea earthquake, massive enough to be felt across continents, had just struck. Within minutes, tsunami alerts echoed through emergency channels. Across the Pacific, now thousands of miles away, the U.S. West Coast holds its breath. California, Oregon, Washington coastal communities awaken to sirens, warnings. And a chilling question: are tsunami waves already racing toward us? Tsunamis are not distant threats. The 2011 Japan earthquake sent surges all the way to American shores, destroying harbors in California. Could this be happening again? The energy unleashed beneath the Pacific doesn't fade with distance, travels silently, relentlessly across the ocean. As authorities scramble to assess the threat, one question remains: when the waves arrive, will we be ready? The U.S. West Coast has been here before. History has shown that a quake thousands of miles away can still bring destruction to American shores, but every earthquake is different. Every tsunami is unique. The two understand the danger that looms. We first need to understand what a tsunami really is. Unlike the towering walls of water shown in movies, a tsunami in the open ocean is often invisible to the naked eye, silent ripple, stretching for miles across the sea. But beneath that gentle surface is an unstoppable mass of energy, traveling at jetliner speeds, sometimes over 500 miles per hour. This energy begins with the quake itself. When tectonic plates grind, shift, or rupture under the seafloor, the sudden release of pressure displaces a colossal volume of water. That's when the clock starts ticking. The size of the tsunami depends on the earthquake's magnitude, the depth of its epicenter, and how the ocean floor has shifted. A shallow, powerful quake, like the one near Kamchatka, can send waves radiating in all directions across entire ocean basins. But here's the terrifying part: tsunamis don't lose strength like regular waves. They carry their destructive force across vast distances. The Pacific Ocean becomes a highway for this energy. Hours may pass before the waves approach distant coastlines, but when they do, the ocean's calm surface can suddenly rise, surge, and twist into violent, fast-moving currents. This is why the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center springs into immediate action after such quakes. Seismographs detect the tremors within seconds, and computer models begin simulating the potential paths of the waves. Governments from Japan to Hawaii to the U.S. West Coast monitor every update, knowing that even a small miscalculation can cost lives. Question is no longer if the waves are coming, it's how big, how fast, and how ready are we this time. As the seismic shock waves fade beneath the Pacific, a second, more urgent wave begins to rise: the human response. Across emergency operation centers in California, Oregon, and Washington, the situation shifts into high alert. Within minutes of the earthquake, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center has already pushed out advisories, and now the clock is ticking. Local authorities don't wait for confirmation of towering waves. Tsunami protocols are designed to expect the worst. In coastal towns, sirens wail. Digital highway signs flash urgent warnings to drivers. Law enforcement begins closing off beaches, piers, and low-lying coastal roads. For many residents, this isn't the first time they know the drill. Grab essentials, head to higher ground, and stay tuned. But for newcomers, the reality is jarring. The ocean that once seemed calm and endless is now a potential threat, creeping closer with every passing minute. At the ports, the stakes are even higher. Harbors and marinas are among the most vulnerable places during a tsunami. Unlike the open ocean, where waves pass beneath ships unnoticed, shallow coastal waters amplify and distort the waves' energy. Currents can reverse suddenly, turning docks into battering rams, slamming boats against concrete and steel. In 2011, after Japan's tsunami, these same forces devastated Crescent City's harbor, over 5,000 miles from the quake's epicenter. But the response isn't chaos. It's coordinated, deliberate, and swift. The U.S. Coast Guard moves to clear waterways, ensuring vessels head toward deeper water if time allows. Commercial ships and cruise liners are ordered to hold position far offshore where the risk is minimal. For those already docked captains, secure mooring lines and prepare for turbulent conditions. For emergency responders, these first hours are critical. They operate under a simple rule. It's better to evacuate and have nothing happen than to hesitate and pay the price. And while the general public may not yet see the waves, those behind the scenes know the ocean never gives a warning. So, could tsunami waves from a Russian earthquake really hit the U.S. West Coast? The answer is both yes and. It's more complicated than most people realize. Tsunamis don't behave like typical waves. They don't lose energy the way wind waves do. Instead, they carry massive amounts of water across entire ocean basins, with barely a loss in speed or power. When an undersea earthquake is strong enough, like the one-off Kamchatka energy it releases can ripple through the Pacific. By the time these waves reach places like California or Oregon, they may no longer resemble the giant walls of water we see in disaster films, triggering rapid, forceful currents. These currents can tear boats from docks, flood streets near the shore, and in narrow bays or harbors create violent whirlpools. History has proven this is not a theoretical risk. In 2011, after Japan's devastating earthquake, tsunami surges swept across the Pacific and reached the U.S. coastline. Crescent City, California, saw over $20 million in damages as docks were obliterated and boats were dragged inland. No one saw a towering wave, but the destructive force beneath the surface was undeniable. The U.S. West Coast's geography plays a big role in how vulnerable it is. Areas with wide-open beaches might only see mild flooding, but narrow inlets, ports, and low-lying coastal towns can act like funnels, amplifying the tsunami's power. Even a surge of just 2 or 3 feet can create currents strong enough to capsize boats or sweep away vehicles. So when a distant earthquake sends out a tsunami warning, the question isn't just if the waves will hit, but how the land they're about to meet will shape their impact. This is why every alert is taken seriously, no matter how far away the quake might seem. As the countdown continues, attention turns to the front lines of impact, the ports, the ships, and the coastal communities that sit directly in the path of these incoming surges, out in the open ocean. Massive vessels like cruise ships and cargo freighters remain calm. Captains steer them into deeper waters, far beyond the reach of the tsunami's destructive shallow water effects. Ironically, the vast deep ocean is the safest place to be. The ship may rise and fall gently with the passing wave, but passengers and crew often won't even feel it. For these floating giants, the danger lies only if they attempt to return too soon. Until the all-clear is given, they stay offshore, riding it out. But closer to land, in the ports and harbors, the scenario is far more precarious. Ports are designed for commerce, not for combating the brute force of nature. When tsunami surges funnel into these confined spaces, the water behaves chaotically. Currents reverse in seconds, turning calm marinas into violent maelstroms. Mooring lines snap like threads, boats are ripped from their docks, and anything not secured is dragged inland or smashed against harbor walls. In busy ports like Los Angeles, San Francisco, or Seattle, every second counts. Authorities scramble to clear vessels out of the harbor if time allows. If not, they brace for the surges, doubling mooring lines, securing equipment, and evacuating the waterfront zones. For coastal communities, the threat is personal and immediate. Low-lying neighborhoods near beaches or river mouths are especially vulnerable. Residents may have only minutes to evacuate to higher ground. Roads become choked with traffic as families rush to safety, while emergency responders work to keep evacuation routes open. Even after the initial wave arrives, the danger isn't over. Tsunamis often hit in multiple surges, hours apart, with the largest waves sometimes arriving later. This is why ports remain closed and communities stay on alert long after the first surge is reported. The sea's power doesn't diminish in a single blow. It comes back, again and again, until it decides to rest. The ocean gives no second chances. A distant earthquake may seem like a world away, but the waves it creates don't respect borders. The U.S. West Coast has learned this through history. The threat is real, and the ocean's reach is long. Tsunamis don't always arrive as monstrous walls of water. Sometimes they strike as silent surges, currents that can devastate without warning. But thanks to constant monitoring, coordinated emergency systems, and hard-learned lessons, we are no longer blind to these threats. The next time the Earth shakes beneath the Pacific and a tsunami alert flashes across your screen, remember, every second matters. Nature's warnings are silent, but they are never unclear. The question is, will we listen in time?